Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I am Dr. Afranesh Amanat, and in this lecture we will study mediators of inflammation, morphological patterns and outcomes. First, I have put a short essay question: what are the morphological patterns of acute inflammation? Give one example of each. This question is frequently asked in your exam. Mediators of inflammation are substances that initiate and regulate inflammatory reactions. The most important mediators are vasoactive amines, mainly histamine, prostaglandins and leukotrienes, which are lipid products, chemokines or cytokines, and the products of complement activation. The chemical mediators of inflammation are divided into cell-derived mediators and plasma-derived mediators, which are produced mainly in the liver. Cell-derived mediators include preformed mediators, which are histamine and serotonin, and those which are synthesized de novo are arachidonic acid metabolites, platelet activating factor, nitric oxide, reactive oxygen species, cytokines and chemokines, while the plasma-derived mediators include products of complement activation and factor 12 activation, coagulation system and kinin system. You are also frequently given a short essay question on the chemical mediators of inflammation. The principal chemical mediators, their sources and their principal functions have been enlisted in this table. You are frequently asked about the role of histamine, prostaglandin, TNF, interleukin 1 and 6 in multiple choice question. Histamine is produced from mast cell, basophil and platelet, and its function is vasodilation, increased vascular permeability and endothelial activation. Prostaglandins produce vasodilation, pain and fever. The leukotrienes, they increased vascular permeability, cause chemotaxis, leukocyte adhesion and activation, while the cytokines, TNF, interleukin 1 and 6, they produce systemic manifestations, fever and metabolic abnormalities, as well as hypotension or shock. The mediators, they may be produced locally by the cells at the site of inflammation, or they are derived from inactive precursors that are activated at the site of inflammation. The cell-derived mediators are released from intracellular granules, or they are synthesized de novo in response to a stimulus. The cells which produce these mediators are macrophages, dendritic cells and mast cells. Some other cells are platelets, neutrophils, endothelial cells and most epithelia. The cell-derived mediators are important for the reactions against offending agents in tissues. Plasma-derived mediators are present in circulation as inactive precursors, and they must be activated to perform their function. They are produced mainly in the liver, and they are effective against circulating microbes. Active mediators are produced in response to various molecules, including microbial products and substances released from the necrotic cells. This ensures that inflammation is normally triggered only when it is needed. Most of the mediators are short-lived, they decay quickly, or they are inactivated by enzymes. One interesting fact is that one mediator can stimulate the release of other mediator. For example, the products of complement activation stimulate the release of histamine. In a similar way, TNF can act on endothelial cells, and it causes the release of interleukin 1 and many chemokines. The functions of these mediators have been enumerated in the table, and you can learn the table. The cell membrane phospholipid is acted upon by phospholipase, resulting in the production of arachidonic acid. Arachidonic acid can either produce cyclooxygenase, or it can undergo lipoxygenase pathway. The products of cyclooxygenase pathway include prostacyclin, also known as PGI2, thromboxane A2, or prostaglandin D2 and E2. Prostacyclin causes vasodilation and it inhibits platelet aggregation, while thromboxane A2 causes vasoconstriction and promotes platelet aggregation. The functions of these two are opposite. The products of lipoxygenase pathway include leukotriene A4 and leukotriene B4, C4, D4 and E4. These three produce bronchospasm and increased vascular permeability. This table shows you the principal actions of arachidonic acid metabolites. Vasodilation is produced by prostacyclin and PGE1, E2 and D2. Vasoconstriction is produced by thromboxane A2, C4, D4 and E4. Increased vascular permeability is produced by C4, D4 and E4, while chemotaxis and leukocyte adhesion is produced by B4. This is also asked in multiple choice question. You also get a short essay question about write a short note on cytokines involved in acute inflammation or the role of cytokines in chronic inflammation, and you have to draw this table. Cytokines of acute inflammation include TNF, interleukin 1, 6, 17 and chemokines, while the cytokines of chronic inflammation include interleukin 12, interferon gamma and interleukin 17. You have to memorize the functions and sources from this table. The products of complement pathway are produced, the microbe can cause the production of complement proteins via the alternate pathway, classical pathway or lectin pathway. The products which are produced are C5a and 3a, which induce inflammation, C3b, which induces phagocytosis, and membrane attack complex, which causes lysis of microbe. Principal mediators in different reactions of inflammation and their reaction on the blood vessel have been enlisted in this table. Histamine and prostaglandins produce vasodilation. Increased vascular permeability is produced by histamine, C3a and 5a and leukotrienes. Fever is produced by interleukin 1, TNF and prostaglandin. Pain is produced by prostaglandin and bradykinin. This is also asked in multiple choice questions. Morphological patterns of acute inflammation. The morphological hallmarks of acute inflammatory reactions are dilation of small blood vessels and accumulation of leukocytes and fluid in extravascular tissue. Increased blood flow to the injured area as well as increased permeability leads to accumulation of extravascular fluid rich in plasma proteins, edema. It can also lead to redness, warmth and swelling of the tissue. Loss of function can also be produced and during the damage as a result of liberation of prostaglandins, neuropeptide cytokines. One of the symptoms produced is pain. This question is very important. The morphological patterns of acute inflammation are serous, fibrinous, suppurative and ulcerative. Serous inflammation. It is marked by exudation of cell-poor fluid into spaces created by injury to the surface epithelia or into the body cavities lined by peritoneum, pleura or pericardium. The fluid is non-infective and it does not contain large number of leukocytes. In the body cavities, the fluid may be derived from the plasma as a result of increased permeability or from the secretion of mesothelial cells. Accumulation of fluid in these body cavities is known as effusion. It can occur in the form of transudate in non-inflammatory conditions, for example in heart failure or some kidney and liver disease. Skin blister, it is another example of serous inflammation and it can result from burn or viral infection, and it represents accumulation of serous fluid within or immediately beneath the damaged epidermis. This is the histological image and it shows you that the epidermis has been separated from the underlying squamous epithelium by the accumulation of serous fluid. Fibrinous inflammation. Fibrinous exudate develops when the vascular leaks are large or there is local procoagulant stimulus. With large increases in vascular permeability, high molecular weight proteins like fibrinogen, they can pass out of the blood and fibrin is formed in the extracellular space. It is characteristic of inflammation in body cavities, meninges, pericardium and pleura. On microscope, you will appreciate fibrin as eosinophilic meshwork of threads or sometimes as coagulum. It can either get dissolved by fibrinolysis or it can become organized by fibroblasts and blood vessels, leading to formation of scar tissue. If it occurs in the pericardium, the organization can lead to fibrous thickening of pericardium, and obliteration of the pericardial space can even occur. Now this is the gross picture, and here you can appreciate deposits of fibrin on the pericardium. On the right hand you can appreciate that this pinkish area is fibrin, and you can appreciate the presence of fibrin on the pericardial surface. Purulent inflammation, other name is suppurative inflammation or abscess. It is characterized by the production of pus, which are basically dead and dying neutrophils, liquefied debris of necrotic cells and edema fluid. And the most common cause is infection with the bacteria that cause liquefactive necrosis, particularly the staphylococci, and they are also known as pyogenic bacteria. Common example is acute appendicitis. Abscess is basically localized collection of pus caused by suppuration buried in the tissue or organ. They are caused by seeding of pyogenic bacteria, and it may become walled off and replaced by connective tissue. You can appreciate here multiple bacterial abscesses in case of bronchopneumonia. This is the lung tissue, and the whitish areas represent areas of bacterial infection. And on the right side you can appreciate dead and dying, accumulation of dead and dying neutrophils or polymorphs. What is ulcer? Ulcer is basically a local defect or excavation of the surface of organ or tissue that is produced by sloughing of the inflamed necrotic tissue. It occurs when the tissue necrosis and inflammation exist on or near a surface. It can occur in mouth, stomach, intestine, genitourinary tract. Ulceration can also occur on the skin and subcutaneous tissue of lower extremities in persons with compromised circulatory problems. The examples are peptic ulcer of the stomach or duodenum and diabetic ulcer of legs. This is the gross picture of chronic duodenal ulcer, and on the right side you can appreciate that there is discontinuation of the surface epithelium, and there is a local crater produced by the ulcer. Outcomes of acute inflammation are either complete resolution, and it occurs when the injury is short-lived or there is little tissue destruction. It involves removal of the cellular debris and microbes by macrophages and resorption of edema fluid by lymphatics. Now, when the injury occurs, the acute inflammation can either lead to complete resolution, there is either abscess formation, or there is healing by fibrosis or progression into chronic inflammation. Healing by connective tissue replacement is known as scarring or fibrosis. It occurs when there is more massive tissue destruction, abundant fibrin exudation in the tissue or serous cavities, and in these conditions the connective tissue grows in the area of damage and fibrous tissue is produced. It can also progress into chronic inflammation. Thank you class for